Swimming home. In the warm, salty waters of the great blue sea, little orange and white fish called clownfish played their favorite game, chasing each other round and round, swimming as fast as they could. Yet they always stayed close to their sea anemone home. Their sea anemone had thousands of soft, white tendrils all over her body, and the tendrils were just perfect to hide in. Alik was following his brother Twill. His bright orange and white stripes, outlined with black, flashed as he swam through the forest of tendrils. The sea anemone's tendrils tickled when they touched Alik. He liked watching the tendrils sway back and forth as the water moved. "Look!" Twill called suddenly. His side fins were going in little circles, holding him steady in one place. "Here come Mother Fish and Father Fish." Alik and Twill and their other brothers watched as Mother Fish and Father Fish slowly glided by. Their side fins touched each other as they swam. Suddenly, Mother Fish flicked her tail and zipped on past Father Fish. Went to. A yellow striped fish with a pointy mouth was eating a tendril of the sea anemone, taking big bites. Mother and Father Fish headed right at the strange fish and started biting at it. The yellow fish swam away, and Mother and Father Fish swam after it. "What's happening?" Alik asked. Zorn, one of his older brothers, answered, "They're protecting our sea anemone. They'll be back soon." When Mother and Father came home, a shrimp was following them and swam into the anemone. As soon as it touched the tendrils, the shrimp went still. "What happened?" Twill asked. "Our sea anemone killed the shrimp with the poison on her tendrils," Zorn said. "But we swim in her tendrils every day," Alik said. "The poison doesn't kill us. That's because we're friends," Zorn said. "We have a special covering on our scales that keeps us safe. Now watch." The soft white tendrils shimmered and waved. The shrimp was tossed to the middle of the sea anemone, right in the circle of her open mouth, and the sea anemone swallowed the shrimp whole. "She was hungry," Zorn said, then swam away. Mother and Father Fish began gliding again. Their tails brushed against the sea anemone's tendrils, soft and gentle on their skin. "Mother and Father Fish are so big and so brave," Alik said. "I can't wait until I'm big like them. But right now, I'm hungry," Twill said. They began nibbling the tiny bits of plants that clung to their sea anemone's tendrils. Twill found a crunchy isopod, and Alik found another shrimp, but that was all, and they were still hungry. "We could leave our sea anemone," Alik said. Twill and Alik looked out into the great blue sea. Stingrays lived out there. Sharks did too. Huge dark fish with double rows of teeth lurked in the deep water, but there were also tasty things to eat. "Come on," Alik said to Twill. "Let's explore." With a flick of his tail he was off, swimming away from their sea anemone home. Twill followed, and they swam side by side, their side fins touching each other as they glided along, farther and farther away, away from their family, away from their sea anemone home. Alik and Twill had never left the forest of tendrils before. They had never swum without the soft touch of their sea anemone on their fins. But Alik found another shrimp to eat, small and tasty, and Twill found plankton, little bits of green floating by. Alik and Twill kept eating and swimming and eating some more. Then Alik stopped swimming. He looked around. Far off in the water, a dark shadow appeared. "Twill," Alik whispered, "what's that?" Twill stopped eating and looked at the shadow. It was coming closer, weaving slowly back and forth. "Shark!" Twill yelled. "Swim! Go back home!" Alik and Twill turned around and flicked their tails, zipping through the water as fast as they could, heading for their sea anemone home. Alik didn't want to look behind him. He didn't want to know how close the shark was, but he could feel the rippling of the water. He could hear the shark getting near. Alik twitched his tail faster, beside him Twill swimming just as hard. The tendrils of their sea anemone shimmered ahead of them, soft and white and warm. They were almost home. Swim, 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 Alik chanted to himself. Swim, swim, swim! The water swirled around them, smelled and tasted like shark, oily and dark and cold. Alik and Twill flicked their tails extra hard. Finally, Alik and Twill reached their sea anemone home, just in time, hiding in the soft white tendrils. The water exploded around them in bubbles as the shark turned to go. The poison of the sea anemone was keeping it away. Twill and Alik peeked between the tendrils to look at each other. Both of them were still scared. Both of them very glad to be home, safe with Mother Fish and Father Fish and all their brothers. Both of them were very, very glad they had a sea anemone to protect them and to be their home. And both of them knew it was their job as clownfish to take care of her. They would chase away any fish that tried to eat her tendrils, and they would bring her food, and she would take care of them.